So today I am going to be answering questions from a non-cruiser, and she's got some good questions. So if you want to sit in on this little Q&A session, please keep watching. Hello everyone, I'm Kim with Freshly Squeezed Travels. I hope wherever you are having a splendid day, and if you're new here, welcome. I am having a great day. We are finally getting a little bit of cooler weather in South Florida, and I have been outside enjoying it. But now I am ready to film this video, and I'm very excited about it. So I have a very dear friend, Karen. We have been friends for over 25 years, and she is one of my favorite people in the entire world. And she mentioned that she had been watching some of my videos. She's obviously a very good friend. And that for the first time ever, she's actually considering going on a cruise. And I was like, wow, that's fantastic. I'm so glad that my videos made you interested in cruising. And she said, well, I do have some questions though. And I said, okay, shoot them over. And then I said, wait, I have a better idea. Why don't you record them and I will answer your questions and also make a video about it. So that way my viewers can also hear the answers to the questions and you will get the information that you need. And she loved the idea. So here we are. Before I jump into her questions, I want to just tell you a little bit about her travel journey. She lived in South Florida for many years, and that's where she and I became friends. And then she and her husband, maybe 10, 11 years ago, moved out to Seattle. And then about 3 years ago, they sold everything and started this slow travel journey around the world. And they have been to so many different countries. They have been to Argentina, Chile, Peru, Mexico, Ecuador, Scotland, South Africa. It's really fascinating. And they have a great podcast if you would like to learn more about their experiences and get some insights into their travel journey. Now, before we dive in, I just want to say that my answers are based on my cruise experience. I have been on 3 Disney cruises, a couple celebrity, a couple Norwegian, and many, many Royal Caribbean cruises. So I'm going to be basing these answers on my experiences. So just keep that in mind. I haven't been on every single cruise line, but I'm going to give the best information I possibly can. So I'm going to play Karen's question, answer it to the best of my ability, then I'll pause and move on to the next one. So here we go. Her first question.
Hey Kim, my fun-loving cruising friend. My first question is, do you recommend using a travel agent to book your first cruise?
Karen knows I'm a travel agent, so thank you, Karen, for that plug. Anyone can book a cruise. You do not need to have a travel planner. It's as easy as booking an airline ticket. And if you know the exact itinerary you want, the exact cruise line you want, you don't have to use a travel agent. But there are a couple situations when I would highly recommend using a travel planner. And one of those is if you are a brand new cruiser and you have a lot of questions and you're not sure exactly what you're looking for, that is the perfect opportunity to use a travel planner. The other thing I want to point out is that it doesn't cost you any extra to use a travel agent. You are paying the exact same rates. And the other reason that a lot of my clients like working with a travel planner is to have one set contact. If they want to make a change, if they have a question, if they want the latest coronavirus procedures, all they have to do is email me, and they can email me 24/7 and they know that I will take care of it for them. They don't have to stay on hold for 15, 20 minutes with the cruise line, and they know they're always going to talk to the exact same person. One more thing I just want to point out, because this actually happened today. I get fare reduction notifications, so I know if there has been a reduction in my client's cruise fare. So I can call the cruise line and make that adjustment for them. It happened today for one of my clients, Joyce. Joyce is a loyal viewer of my channel. So Joyce, if you're watching, hello. And just today I got a fare reduction notice for a sailing for her. I called Royal Caribbean. I had the savings applied to their upcoming cruise, and Joyce, I don't even think knows about it yet. So that's another reason to use a travel planner. And those fare reduction notifications, those aren't just for me. Those are for every travel planner. I'm not that special. I mean, I'm a little bit special, but many travel planners get those notifications and they can also make those adjustments. Okay, next question.
What cruise line would you recommend for first-timers?
Okay, that is a great question. Now, obviously, it's going to depend on your age, your demographics, if you've got kids, where you want to cruise to. So there are a lot of different variables, but I will give you my general recommendations. Whenever a client comes to me and they have never cruised before, I tend to recommend Norwegian or Celebrity. I recommend Norwegian particularly if you have kids. I am a loyal Royal cruiser. That is the cruise line that I started with, so I have continued to cruise with them, and I absolutely love Royal Caribbean. I'm Diamond Plus, and I've got a cruise booked with them at the end of December. But the reason that I tend to recommend Norwegian is because they are always running specials, some sort of free at sea program or something. So you can get a lot of extras added to your cruise. Things like the drink package, sometimes gratuities, excursions, specialty dining. So if you don't have the loyalty status that I have on Royal, I tend to recommend Norwegian for families. For adults without children, I will recommend Norwegian, but I also recommend Celebrity. You can also get drink packages on Celebrity included with your cruise fare, and they have just also started rolling in gratuities with your cruise fare. So that's another very, very good option. But there are a lot of different cruise lines. They all have their loyal fans. Carnival is a great option if you're younger in particular, but I know a lot of people love Carnival cruises of all ages. There's also luxury brands like Silver Sea. If you are a huge Disney fanatic, you might want to consider Disney. Of course, Disney cruises tend to be quite expensive, but that's another option. And Virgin Voyages has its brand new adult-only offering that's a little bit more non-traditional, and that might appeal to some people too. It really just depends on what you're looking for. Okay, let's hear Karen's next question.
What do you think is the best duration for a first cruise?
I would say if you are going on a cruise ship for the very, very first time, you want to pick a 4-night or longer sailing. You need to have a chance to kind of relax, get adjusted to your surroundings. You want to also make sure you have at least one sea day, because the only way you're really going to know if you like cruising is if you experience a day at sea. I would never ever recommend a short weekend cruise. Those can tend to be a little bit of party cruises. Been there, done that, not doing it again. I think that can turn a lot of people off to cruising if that's not what they're looking for. If they think that is what cruising is about, they may never want to get on a ship again. The other thing that I would recommend is if you do not have children with you and you don't want to be around a lot of kids, make sure that you schedule your sailing when children are in school. Okay, next question.
Now, what does the fare usually cover?
Okay, so on almost every cruise line, your stateroom is covered by your cruise fare as well as most meals. Also, all your entertainment on board is usually covered. Things like movies and Broadway-style shows, plus a lot of activities, ice skating, rock climbing, zip lining, ropes courses. So your fare actually covers a lot. Some cruise lines will also include gratuities with your fare. Others, it will be extra. And also on some cruise lines, as I mentioned, you can get drinks included with your fare or Wi-Fi or specialty dining. It really depends on the cruise line. Okay, let's go on to Karen's next question.
So I'm curious, how do you handle tipping?
Okay, so that's a question I know a lot of people who haven't cruised before have about gratuities. They wonder about gratuities. Some cruise lines will include gratuities with your fare automatically. Virgin does that, for example. Others, there will be a per person per day rate, and most of the times those are added to your cruise account automatically. You are always welcome to tip more if you care to. You can always give cash on board to bartenders or servers or to your stateroom attendant, but tipping really varies by cruise line. And if you are looking to save money, you might want to look for a cruise fare that includes gratuities. But always tip your bartender extra. Just trust me on this. Okay, moving on.
What if you encounter bad weather? Is there enough to do on the ship?
One of the best things about cruising is that the captain can move the ship. So a lot of times they will move the ship out of bad weather, which is a huge advantage to being on a cruise ship. You can't do that at a resort. If it's rain at the resort, there's nothing you can do. But on a cruise ship, the crew and the captain will do their best to steer clear of bad weather. Now, if you're worried about being bored on a cruise, I would recommend that you go on one of the larger ships because there is so much to do. I am never bored on a cruise, and I always try to do things that I haven't done before. I've done line dancing classes, I've done cupcake decorating classes, sushi making classes, I've gone to wine tasting, cognac tasting. I always like to try and do something new on every cruise that I take. And of course, there are always all the tried and true activities. There's trivia, there's bingo, there's bingo. What else? Or you can just find a nice corner of the cruise ship to sit and relax, maybe read a book and stare out into the ocean. It's one of my favorite things to do on a cruise if we hit bad weather, is just to find a big comfy chair, get an Audible book, maybe a hot cup of coffee or a cocktail, and just sit and relax and watch the ocean. Okay, let's hear Karen's next question.
Speaking of bad weather, how common is seasickness?
Okay, so I have never experienced seasickness. I'm very lucky I have an iron stomach, so it's not something that I've ever suffered from. But especially with the larger ships, seasickness is very rare. Most of the time, you won't even feel the ship moving. But if you are concerned about seasickness, you might want to request a cabin in the center of the ship. That is the most stable part of the ship, and you might want to bring some over-the-counter remedies with you. I have a friend who swears by the sea bands. I will put an image of those. She says that they work absolutely great, and she really suffers from motion sickness on flights and on cruises, and she says this has been a tremendous help to her. And if you are ever on board a cruise and you are caught unprepared by seasickness, just go to guest services. They almost always have some sort of remedy that they can give you free of charge. Okay, moving on. I am loving hearing Karen's voice, by the way. I miss her. I haven't seen her in a while. Oh, what the heck?
One of the reasons I've never cruised is because I like to explore when I'm in a new location. Do you feel like you get enough time at the ports of call?
I think this is one of the main reasons why people don't cruise, is because they feel like they're just stuck on the ship and they don't really get to explore their destinations. And to an extent, I think that that's true. If you want to immerse yourself in a culture and you really want to get a feel for a place, if you want to immerse yourself in a culture and really get a feel for a new place and, get to know the locals and things like that, then that is not the time for a cruise vacation. But sometimes you might just want to relax. And I consider a cruise a resort vacation at sea. And one of the things that I think is so great about cruising versus a resort is that instead of getting to see one world-class beach, for example, you can experience 3 world-class beaches. I've been river tubing in Jamaica. I've done tequila tastings in Mexico. I've been snorkeling in Barbados. Your time in each port is limited, but it is enough time for you to do a really great activity and maybe see if it's somewhere you want to visit at a later time. That's what happened to me and my husband when we went to San Juan. We visited there on a cruise and we fell in love with Puerto Rico. And now we actually take trips specifically to Puerto Rico where we just fly in and fly out. Okay, next question.
Are there enough vegan and vegetarian options for dining?
Okay, this is a tricky one. And again, I'm only going to answer this based on my cruise experience. And I would say that for vegetarians, there are enough options, particularly in the buffet. I would say in the main dining room, in my experience, the options are more limited. And for vegans, I'm going to say your options are even more limited. Of course, you're going to have plenty of different dishes that you can choose from in the buffet. But from what I've seen at the restaurants in the main dining room on cruise lines, I would say your options are very limited. I want to mention that the Scarlet Lady from Virgin Voyages has a vegan and vegetarian restaurant that specializes in those types of dishes. So before you go on a cruise, if you are a vegan, I would go on the cruise line's website. I would check the menus and see what they have to offer. Next question.
Do you have to dress up for dinner? Is that even still a thing?
It really depends on the cruise line. If you are on one of the higher end luxury cruise lines, yeah, you're going to have a lot more rules regarding dress code and probably a lot more formal nights than on other ships like Royal. If you're on a 7-night sailing, for example, they typically have 2 formal nights. And you can choose to go to these formal nights or not. There have been times that my family and I have been on Royal Caribbean cruises, and we really didn't feel like dressing up. And we're the type of people that we're not going to go to the main dining room like dressed in jeans if it is formal night. So we just do something different. We might go to their Mexican restaurant. I remember one time on formal night, we went to Johnny Rockets. Other times we will go to the buffet. One of the most underrated things on many cruise lines is the buffet at dinner. I really enjoy it. It has kind of a different vibe up there. A lot of times you can see all the ship's officers eating there. You can have wine with your dinner. Sometimes they'll have candlelight. It's actually a really nice experience. So on most cruise lines, you certainly don't have to dress up, but if there is a formal night, I think it's nice to dress up. And one other thing about formal nights, if you do get all gussied up, that is the perfect opportunity to get family portraits taken, because there are ship photographers throughout the ship and you can get many, many, many different photos taken. And then before the end of the cruise, you can look at the photos and decide if you want to take them. It's like having a free photo shoot. And we have some of our best family portraits from formal nights on cruises. Okay.
And most importantly, how do drink packages work?
Wow, that was a dramatic ending. So every ship is a little bit different. If you are on a ship that doesn't already include the drinks with your fare and you like cocktails, I highly, highly, highly recommend looking into their drink package. Cocktails on cruise lines can be $15 or more sometimes, and a drink package can actually save you a lot of money. My husband and I were on a cruise with his sister, my sister-in-law, and she wasn't sure if she wanted to get the drink package. That was until she saw our first bar tab, and then she was like, oh, holy crap, I'm getting the drink package. And we're like, yeah, you probably should. So if you're a person who might like to have a couple mimosas in the morning, then maybe a couple pina coladas by the pool, wine with dinner, and then maybe an after dinner cocktail, a drink package makes a lot of sense. You can definitely book a cruise that already includes alcohol. As I mentioned, Celebrity and Norwegian are 2 great examples. And also some cruise lines like Disney and Royal actually allow you to bring a certain amount of wine or champagne on board with you. Royal's is 2 bottles per cabin, for example. How ship drink packages usually work is that you pay a fee per day. It usually ranges from $50 to $100 a day, but depending on the package you get, that dictates which alcohol is included. If you get a premium package, premium liquor will be included. If you get more of a basic package, then basic alcoholic beverages will be included. Keep in mind that some cruise lines like Celebrity have a 15 drink a day maximum. I think that that's plenty of beverages. And also some of them have limits on the cocktail price that you can order. For example, the drink package might only include beverages that are $12 or less or $15 or less. It depends on the cruise line. Also, I want to point out that some drink packages also include things like energy drinks, specialty coffees, bottled water, fresh juices. So they might make sense for you even if you're not a huge cocktail person. And that's it. If you have any questions for me, please drop them in the comment section. I promise I will answer them. And also, if you have a different opinion or want to share some of your insights, leave a comment. I love reading them, and I want this channel to be a place where we can all learn together. If you found this video informative and you liked it, please leave a thumbs up And consider subscribing. I do lots of cruise videos and Disney videos, and I would love to have you as part of my traveling party. Until next time, I hope you have happy and safe travels. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.